Have you ever wanted someone to love you, but the moment they actually get close to you, something inside you wants to run? You may spend months wishing someone would understand you. You want emotional connection. You want someone who can trust you can trust. You want to feel chosen. But when someone finally starts getting close, you become uncomfortable. You start questioning everything. You notice their flaws. You certainly need space. You stop responding as much. Or you convince yourself that maybe you don't actually like them. And then when they pull away, you miss them. You want them back. And the cycle starts all over again. If you experience this, it doesn't necessarily mean you are incapable of love. Sometimes wanting closeness and fearing closeness can exist at the same time. And today we are going to talk about why that can happen, especially when your early relationships didn't teach you that emotional closeness was safe. Welcome back to Rise Healed. This channel is about understanding how difficult childhood and family experiences can continue to affect us as adults and learning healthier ways to relate to ourselves and also to relate to other people. And before we go any further, I want you to know something important. This video isn't about diagnosing yourself with an attachment style. It's about recognizing a pattern because sometimes what looks like I don't want a relationship may actually be I want a relationship, but emotional closeness feels unfamiliar or unsafe. And those are two different things, very different. One of the first reasons you may struggle with closeness is that growing up, connection may not have consistently felt safe. Maybe love came with criticism. Maybe affection was unpredictable. Maybe you never knew which version of someone you were going to get. Maybe you learned that being vulnerable could lead to embarrassment, rejection, punishment, or being ignored. Or maybe the people you depended on were emotionally unavailable. So your brain and body learned something very important. Getting close to people can hurt. And when you grow up with that experience, you may still want connection, but another part of you may be watching carefully. And as an adult, someone can treat you well, and instead of immediately feeling comfortable, you might start looking for what could go wrong. You might think, what's the catch? Why is this person interested in me all of a sudden? How long is this going to last? When are they going to change? Or what happened when they really get to know me? And the person may not have done anything wrong, but your past can still influence how you experience the present. By the way, before you move forward, please support this channel by subscribing and also leave a comment. So another reason you may pull away is because distance became a way of protecting yourself. When you are emotionally distant, you have more control. You don't have to depend on someone. You don't have to reveal too much. You don't have to risk needing them or depending on them. And you don't have to experience the vulnerability that comes with being truly seen. So when someone gets close, you might unconsciously create distance. You become busy, you stop sharing, you start emotionally checking out, and you find a reason why the relationship won't work. You may sin, or you may even convince yourself, I was better off alone anyway. And sometimes you really do need space. That's healthy. But there's a difference between healthy space and automatically creating distance because vulnerability feels threatening. Healthy space says, I need some time to myself, but I'm still connected to you. Fear-based distancing can feel more like, I need to get away from this person because they have the chance to hurt me. And you may not even realize you're doing it. You want to be loved, but you are afraid of being seen or being hurt. Here's another contradiction that can be difficult to understand. You can deeply want someone to know you while simultaneously being afraid of them actually knowing you. Because being truly seen means being vulnerable. It means letting someone see your needs, your insecurities, your fears, your emotions, your imperfections. And if you go up believing that your feelings were too much, or your needs were inconvenient, or your vulnerability wasn't safe, then being emotionally exposed can feel incredibly uncomfortable. You might think, what if they see the real me or leave? So you keep parts of yourself hidden. You give them enough to feel connected, but not enough to feel completely exposed. And this can create loneliness even inside a relationship. And that can happen within both men or women because you're technically connected to someone, but you're still protecting yourself from being fully known. This is another important one. If you've experienced a lot of emotional unpredictability in the past, calm relationships can initially feel strange. You used to wondering, are they upset? Are they going to leave me? What are they thinking? What happened next? So when someone is consistent, like kind, available, and emotionally steady, your nervous system may not immediately recognize that as exciting or healthy. You might start thinking, oh my God, there's no spark. This person is boring. Something is missing. Why don't I feel more? Now, this doesn't mean every calm relationship is automatically healthy or that you should stay with someone simply because they're kind or they're nice. Absolutely not. But it is worth asking yourself, do I actually dislike this person? Or am I uncomfortable because this type of emotional consistency is unfamiliar to me? That's a very different question. And here's where the push pull cycle can become especially confusing. When someone is close, you pull away. When they pull away, you want them back. And suddenly you miss them. You think about them consistently. You wonder what went wrong. You may start reaching out again. And when they come close, you may feel overwhelmed all over again and you push them away. This can create a painful full cycle. The painful full cycle can be look like want closeness, feel closeness, create distance, feel lonely, seek closeness again, become overwhelmed, create distance again. If this sounds familiar, don't use it as another reason to shame yourself. Instead, just become curious and ask yourself when that happened. What happens inside me when someone gets close? Do you feel trapped, exposed, responsible, afraid, bored, suspicious, overwhelmed, or afraid that you are going to lose yourself? Your reaction can tell you something about what you learned about relationship. And maybe there's something you might need, a professional therapist to help you walk through it. And for some people, the fear isn't simply what if they hurt me? It's what if I lose myself again? Maybe you've spent years adapting to other people's emotions. Maybe you've been the people pleaser, the caretaker, the peacekeeper, the person who always adjusts. And now that you finally get away from all those titles, from all those toxic people, you find yourself again. And then when you finally find a healthy relationship, you don't want to lose yourself again. So when someone enters your life and wants emotional closeness, part of you may worry, am I going to start putting their needs before mine again? And that's an important field to pay attention to Because healing doesn't mean becoming completely independent, so you never need anyone. It also doesn't mean becoming completely dependent on another person. Healthy connection allows you to say, I can love you without abandoning myself. You don't have to carry burden of other people, their emotional burden. That's toxic relationship. A healthy relationship, you can be yourself, but you also have to have strong boundary in place. So what can you do if you recognize yourself in this? Start by slowing the pattern down. You don't have to force yourself to become comfortable with intimacy overnight. Instead, notice the moment you feel yourself wanting to run or to shut down, and just ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Not what's wrong with this person. It's not about the person. We're trying to see what's going on with us that we always shutting down good and healthy relationship. It's because of trauma. But what's happening inside me? That's what you have to ask. Maybe you are afraid. Maybe you are overwhelmed. Maybe you are afraid of rejections. Or maybe you're afraid of losing your independence. Maybe you simply need some space. The goal isn't to force yourself to stay. The goal is to understand your reaction before automatically acting on it. You can also practice communicating instead of disappearing or ghosting someone without any type of explanation. Instead of doing that, you can just communicate clearly. I need to get away, I need to have some time to process my emotion or what I'm feeling. Instead of, I need to get away from this person, you might say, I'm feeling overwhelmed and I need some time to process what I'm feeling. That's different from shutting down or shutting someone out without explanation. And perhaps most importantly, learn to separate your past from your present. Not everyone is the person who hurt you. Not everyone are toxic. Different relationship with different people. Healthy people will have a different relationship with you than being with the toxic people. Not every relationship will become the relationship you experienced growing up. And you don't have to ignore red flags to heal. Healing means learning to recognize the difference between this person is actually unsafe and this person is safe, but being emotionally close feels unfamiliar to me. That distinction can change everything. If you want closeness, but sometimes feel the urge to run when someone gets too close, you are not alone. You may have learned to protect yourself in ways that once made sense. And now, as an adult, you get the opportunity to learn something different. You can have boundaries without building walls. You can have independence without emotional isolation. You can love someone without losing yourself. And you can slowly learn that closeness doesn't have to mean danger. It can mean connection. It can mean honesty. It can mean being seen while still remaining yourself. And if you are healing from family trauma, remember, you don't have to become a completely different person to have healthier relationships. Sometimes healing begins with understanding the person you already are. If this video helped you understand yourself a little bit better, subscribe to Rise Heal. And also, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Do you tend to pull away when someone gets too close? Or do you become afraid they will leave when they pull away? You don't have to share anything personal. Just tell me which side of the pattern feels more familiar to you. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.